Hello everyone. Today we are doing the question answers and the textual exercise of chapter 7 Mother's Day. This is part 3. Question number 1. Who is Mrs. Fitzgerald? What does she advise Mrs. Pearson? Mrs. Fitzgerald is Mrs. Pearson's neighbor and friend, a fortune teller who had learned the art from East. She tells Mrs. Pearson that her fortune could turn either way. With effort and counsel, the situation would bring swing in her favor. She advised her to assert herself as boss of the house. Question number 2. What was Mrs. Pearson's reaction to Mrs. Fitzgerald's advice? Well, as we know, Mrs. Fitzgerald advised her to come forward and face the situation, be bold enough. But here, Mrs. Pearson said that it would not be easy to put her family members in place as she was very fond of them. She knew that they were thoughtless and selfish, but felt perhaps they did not mean to be. She didn't want the family to be in problem. So that is why she was hesitant about it. Question number 3. What was Mrs. Fitzgerald's opinion of Mrs. Pearson's attitude? Means what Mrs. Fitzgerald thought of Mrs. Pearson. Fitzgerald said that Mrs. Pearson's family was undoubtedly spoiled. She felt that it was Mrs. Pearson's attitude that did them no good. Tending to their needs, taking their efforts, orders, and staying at home every night while they went out enjoying themselves. So, here we can see that Mrs. Pearson was a lady who quietly kept on doing the errands of the house, though they were thankless, the members of the family, and they did not, pay attention to her own self also. Question number 4. What does Mrs. Fitzgerald offer to do for her? This is almost the same question as first we have done. Mrs. Fitzgerald sensed that Mrs. Pearson was far too gentle, submissive, and generous to tackle her family. So Mrs. Fitzgerald offered to make them realize the error of their ways not as Mrs. Fitzgerald but as Mrs. Pearson. So she offered to change their bodies and change back again after she deals with the family members. Question number 5. How did the two women react after their bodies were changed? Well, there were contrasting reactions from both of them. When Mrs. Pearson looked down at herself in Mrs. Fitzgerald's body, she gave a scream of fright. On the other hand, Mrs. Fitzgerald is rather pleased and feels that transition was so neat and she did not even know that she had it in her. So here Mrs. Pearson was afraid what is going to happen because she anticipated that there is going to be a lot of row in the family. Question number 6. What is Doris' first reaction on seeing her mother? Why? Well, Doris was taken aback, means surprised, or even you can say shocked to see her mother smoking and playing cards. When Doris asked her what she was doing, she startled to get her answer. Whitewashing or sealing? The sealing, moreover, her conduct was not nervous and apologetic but cool and incisive. So, Doris was shocked to see her mother smoking, playing cards, drinking wine, and above all, the attitude was somewhat incisive. What did Doris want her mother to do? Well, Doris was going out with Charlie Spence and she had asked her mother to iron her yellow silk, but mother reacted in a very strange manner. She refused to get her tea and iron her dress, telling her that she put in twice the hours Doris did, but got neither wages nor thanks for it, so refused straight away. Question number 8. What does Mrs. Pearson say to Doris that really bothered her? Doris started crying, and there was reason behind it. Mrs. Pearson asked where Doris would wear her yellow silk dress. She said that she planned to go out with Charlie Spence. Here, Mrs. Pearson told her to find somebody better. Means she ridiculed her and insulted Charlie Spence by calling him buck teeth and half wit. So, this was an insult and humiliation for Doris, and she started crying. Question number 9. What does Mrs. Pearson have to say to Cyril that shocks him? Well, Cyril also gets a shock. When Cyril walks in and insists on her getting the tea and his clothes ready, he is stunned to hear that she doesn't like mending. Mother refused, that I don't like mending. She goes on to tell him that when he does not want to do something, he does not do it. So here she also wants to say that she planned to do the same. Cyril could not believe his ears. Question number 10. What do Doris and Cyril feel about Mrs. Pearson's changed behavior? So here basically they feel that she must have hit her head somewhere, as Doris is saying, and this was kind of surprise for them. So Doris and Cyril discuss that there is something wrong with their mother as she is not behaving in character. They discuss how Mrs. Pearson behaved oddly with each of them. They try to fathom if she had gone crazy or had a concussion or her head must have hit her head somewhere. The last question of this lecture: what is Mrs. Pearson's reaction to see her children giggling, kind of, laughing in a submissive manner when she returns to room? Mrs. Pearson asks them the reason for their amusement. Doris answers that she had never understood their jokes, to which Mrs. Pearson retorts rudely that she was bored at their jokes even before they were born, or she means to say, I was yawning at your jokes even when you were not born. Doris is tearful, and Mrs. Pearson blames them for being selfish about their needs. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.